There's this small little game on Roblox you've probably heard of, and it's called The Mimic. Let me just cut right to the chase and say, I absolutely love this game. Not just like it, I love it. It's my absolute favorite horror game on Roblox, and I have to share my reasoning as to why I believe this in today's video. So without further ado, let's get right into why I love The Mimic. The Mimic is a game developed by Mukdik of CT Studios. It is a Japanese horror game about four beasts who once roamed the world and were sealed off by a samurai. It has four stories, those being Control, Jealousy, Rebirth, and Rage. Currently, Control is the only one that is fully complete, with Jealousy still being in development, with Chapter 2 expected to release sometime this year as of recording this video. And each book in The Mimic leaves you as a different protagonist, all with their own theme and exploring their own different type of world. The gameplay of The Mimic is different for each book. Control primarily focuses on mazes, survival, and some puzzles, while Jealousy focuses on stealth and fully puzzles. There's also game modes in this game, and they all have their own different unique gameplay aspect, which I won't go too deep into since this is mainly focused on the main game and not mostly the game modes. I just absolutely love the gameplay of The Mimic, as it is one of my favorite parts of this game, to the puzzles, to the stealth and jealousy, to basically just it being a very fun experience. Each book and game mode provides new and unique experience that will keep you excited constantly, whether it be Control's mazes, Jealousy stealth puzzles. It provides a lot of fun and learning for you to understand. The Mimic also has a very unique mode called Nightmare Mode, where you put your skills to the test as you only have one life and one chance to do it. I find this incredibly unique as it really shows if you're truly worthy to complete Nightmare Mode or you still have some learning to do about the game's mechanics. The character designs in The Mimic are some of the best I've ever seen in a Roblox game. They are all shown to be very creepy and menacing, which adds to the vibes of these character designs and add to their creepiness factor. While yes, the character designs are low poly models, I believe they are examples that you can still have low poly models and still create something horrifying with them. Like in some cases, the characters are just straight up terrifying even without fitting into their environment, which is a lot to name, so I won't go into details about any specific character designs. Oh, and of course, how can I forget the four beasts? I love their designs so much. Kentaro, Inzukai, Yuma, and Natemo all have incredibly amazing designs and really fit for their specific purpose of being the main antagonist of their specific books. The horror side of The Mimic is one that is done incredibly well. It gives you a feeling of unease for every level and chapter that you go through, and each book has its own unique sense of dread. Example being, in book 1, you can hear the footsteps and the sounds of the monster in the maze, but you don't know where they are until they either start chasing you, or you run right into them after turning a corner. While book 2 focuses less on horror, I still think it manages to pull off horror amazingly. Except for the ship part. That part is just irritating than scary. The Mimic does what it set out to do, and I think it is a great execution of a horror game, and it set up a massive trend of other horror games on Roblox. I want to make this clear, this doesn't include to every game like Doors. Though, yes, there are some flaws with the horror of the game, and one of those being it just stops losing its horror feel after dying multiple times. At that rate, it just starts slowly getting more annoying. I'm specifically looking at you, Book 2, Chapter 1, for that. But aside that, I think the horror aspect of The Mimic is what makes it so good, and why I love it so much. But nothing will keep me captivated with this game more than the story of The Mimic. The story of The Mimic is one that I will forever be interested in, and it is why it keeps me interested in this game. The base storyline is that a very bored god created four beasts to rampage the world for his own amusement, these being Control, Jealousy, Rebirth, and Rage. They rampaged the world for over 3,000 years until a man by the name of Kusunoki Masasije stepped up and fought the beasts and sealed them away. But then he falls into the trap of control, cursing his entire bloodline, starting the beginning of Book 1. The story of the Mimic is written by a ton of lore writers, all of which are some genuinely amazing people who really know how to write a story and what a story needs to be good, which is one reason why the story is one of my favorite aspects of this game. Each book has its own unique story based around one of the 4 beasts, while following the theme of the said beast, which makes for some very interesting and very unique storytelling for each book. For example, Book 1's prequel, The Witch Trials, only further adds into Control's story, revealing more information that we don't usually get during the book 1 in its entirety, and is actually how the main story is introduced to us. As of recording this, Book 2 is not complete, so I cannot say anything regarding a story, but I will be making a review video on each chapter as they are released for the rest of the game. In conclusion, The Mimic, despite its flaws, is my favorite Roblox horror game, and possibly even my favorite Roblox game of all time in general. It is such a great game with an incredible story, and I'm super excited to see the future of this game, and I highly recommend it to any horror fan who might be looking for a new game to play. That's all I really have. Thanks for spending the time to watch why I believe The Mimic is my favorite horror game. And yeah, that's all.